Today on The Breakfast, presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, has formally submitted a petition challenging the process leading to the outcome of the presidential election held on February 28, 2023. We'll have discussions on this ahead.
Also on The Breakfast, experts say recycling is a key part of circular economy, helping to protect our natural resources. We will have further conversation on the subject.
And as usual, we have a look at newspaper headlines today. We call it Off the Press. These and others ahead on The Breakfast this morning. All right, we're back with interesting conversations right here on The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. My name is Kofi Bartels.
And I am Mercy Ebopo. It's good to be back on your screen. These days I'm in the spirit to say happy something, Kofi. You look great.
Thank you, Mercy, and it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
I do not know where you were, but I know you came. You came with some goodies.
I was. You were just going to make me say
something.
Some
goodies for us. But anyway, as we said, we're talking, just looking at the processes involved in filing a petition at the court, the Presidential Election Petitions Court, and we'll look at also recycling as well. But let's start off with a top trending segment. I mean, this program will not be complete without a look at what's trending. The first one, and I hope we can put this on the air so our listeners can listen to what is being said, is of a Nigerian man. And not the only one. There are a number of these videos that have popped up on social media, who is based abroad, who tore his passport. I don't know why I'm laughing, because there's a funny aspect to it, but it's also tragic as well. It's also tragic as well. Can we call it tragic comedy? I don't know if I can call it that. But he proceeded to tear his passport following the conduct of the presidential and governorship elections, and of course he had some things to say about it. So can we roll the tape and listen to what he had to say, and we'll come back? I think listeners will understand it better if they watch.
Good evening, fellow Nigerians. Having critically observed the way and manner the Nigerian election has been conducted so far, I have come to the conclusion that Nigeria can never be redeemed. As a result, I have decided not to be associated with anything called Nigeria. In order to buttress my assertion, I hereby destroy my Nigerian passport. Thank you. God bless.
There's no better way to actually do this if you want to do this. The way he just said, reason, tore it, and just said thank you, God bless, and he moved on. There's another video which we won't be put there, but there's another gentleman, a younger gentleman this time, who also came out and did the same thing, tore his Nigerian passport. He said his wife is Yoruba, and all of that. He's from outside of the southwest, and he tore his passport, saying, he's done with the country. So these are just the videos of a number of persons who've torn their passports on social media, and I think tearing the passport is not even the main thing, because that you can see it. The people who have passports, but in their hearts have been torn from Nigeria. Or Nigeria has torn their hearts. So The other man spoke. The second guy spoke of on how he voted, and this is the second guy. Can we listen to him maybe? Okay, let's listen to him.
Is a state. Nigeria is a nation. Telling Igbos to go back to where they come from. Are you people? Are you all? Nigeria is a state.
Okay, so the second guy spoke on how he voted for Peter Obi not because of his tribe. He said he didn't vote for him because if you listen to that video, and I wish you can play it from the beginning so we get the full gist of what he said. But he said he talked about his wife. His wife is Yoruba and he's from the southeast, Igbo, and how they live together in harmony. And he voted for. He has nothing against any tribe from this country. If we could play it for that second different video. I don't know if we can do that. He talked about how he voted for the Labour Party's presidential candidate Peter Obi, not because of he's a tribe, but because of the capabilities and characteristics of the man. He says yet his vote, like millions, didn't count. And then he proceeded to tear his passport. If it's possible to listen to what he said from the beginning, that would be great. But
we're not getting that feedback yet.
Okay. So Messi, just give us your analysis.
Oh well, so I was just trying to just put myself in check and just be all together. So we know that there's been a lot of reaction as to why people have reacted to this video. So this is not now. A lot of persons are saying, "Hey, this doesn't make sense. This is not the way out." Other people are saying that it's fake video. Not necessarily a fake video, but the passport is fake, and so or probably expired, and that's why. Now, you need to understand that, Kofi, people do not have the same capacity to handle disappointment, different outcomes most times in most cases. And trust me, you want to be shocked, especially if you're not there. So it's not surprising. I saw comment, I read comment, I've heard a lot of people speak about this is not true. Come on, they're just tearing their expired passport. And once upon a time, we all probably would have an expired passport and we think that that's a show. No, that's not it. And as much as you can't even say, I also remember that some prominent person, Ketenshaw to be very precise, tweeted, and I got to see her tweets as to, hey, this is not the way, don't be angry and don't tweet. But my comment underneath her tweet was that, you see, it's almost the same thing as renouncing your citizenship, right? This is what they have done. They have renounced their citizenship, but they have not done it through the way it should be done. Because you have a right, you and I have a right to wake up and say, hey, I do not want to become, or I'm no longer interested being a Nigerian. And so from today, I want to renounce my citizenship. It is constitutional. It is your right. You have a right to say, hey, I'm not part of this entity called Nigeria and I want to denounce. And so there are several procedures. You want to look at the Constitution. There are requirements for you to renounce your citizenship as a Nigerian. You need to submit a formal application letter to the Ministry of Interior, obtain a prescribed application from the office renouncing your citizenship from the ministry online visiting, the processing of the application form, a payment of a certain fee, 20,000 naira, if you like to say, birth certificate, local government. So there's a process, passport, entirely, you have to go through a process. My point here is, just like I reacted to Ketenshaw's tweets, what she was saying, I was like, this is just tantamount to people renouncing their citizenship, but it's not done through the legal way. And honestly, I really don't know if we have the right to begin to tell people how not to feel with emotions, because emotions will always be emotions and people will react in different ways. Everyone is not within the same level or capacity, to handle issues. And well, we probably would think that it would be a different outcome, that these persons will still have a little bit of faith, a little bit of hope in the system, and also look at the fact that nothing is entirely, to the other side. I mean, everything is relative, so you can't have everything, to one side. And so as much as we say that there's a lot that's not going on for us as a plus in Nigeria, there are still some positives that you have to look at it. That's why I say that you don't have everything cannot just be on to the other side. So it's just to this side and to the other side, and that's it. So as much as we say, hey, Nigeria is a failed state, we've seen one or two incidents or the conduct of the elections triggered several feelings and emotions, but we can literally say that we have failed entirely. We have made progress. If you look at where we have been as a country, we have made some kind of progress, and it can only get better. Don't forget, which is nascent. And nascent, I'm not just saying this so just to give us hope. We're growing at democracy. I'm sure that we'll definitely get it gradually, steady, but we also need a lot of persons to be patriotic. As much as I cannot, tell you how to feel and how to react, whether or not, but I'm just asking that just a little bit of hope, will take us, to the other side of the divide. And that's what it is. It is within the powers of the people. I mean, so at some point, I think I jokingly have said I was going to renounce my citizenship. I remember, saying that. And I say that it's very constitutional. The procedures are right there. You have to pay and go ahead to say, hey, I'm no longer interested in becoming a citizen of Nigeria. I also have some friends who don't even own the green passport. They don't have it, but they're Nigerians and they say, I'm not interested. But you see, nation building is a collective effort. We all have a responsibility. Like I always say, we're just a reflection of our leadership. And so whenever you look at the fact that leadership is bad, we have nepotistic, tribalistic, our leaders are corrupt and what have you, it's just a reflection of who we are. And so a society would always throw up, if you have a corrupt society, would throw up the kind of persons that they have. So if you say the Nigerian society is tribalistic, then you are tribalistic. If you say that we're nepotistic, the leaders are nepotistic, then you are just exactly what you're accusing the leaders of. So yes, it's a collective responsibility, and we can only hope and say, hey, steady will definitely get there.
I do not know how the people who are grieving that their hopes were dashed will feel if they hear from you that they themselves are the problems of the country.
No, Kofi, Kofi, I don't think that would be fair, for you to pitch me, because I think that that's it. I don't think that that's fair. What I have just said is everyone has a right. I mean, you can't really tell people.
Can I explain myself? What I was saying is that, it's good. I mean, we say these things, that we are all part of the problem and all that, but at this point, when people who wanted to vote were not allowed to vote anyway, chased away and beaten, if they hear that, because now people came out, people said, okay, we won't sit back, and we're going to give it a push, give it come out and exercise. And so do we have the opportunity now to tell people they're part of the problem?
No, no. I think that's not it's not a matter of this instance, whether or not we like it. As much as a lot of persons are not very pleased with the outcome of this result, you also still have a lot of people who are very pleased. I have seen people who are tweeting and posting pictures on their WhatsApp story and saying, finally, I also know a governor who's from my tribe, who's from my region. A lot of people don't see that. These persons are not spirit. We didn't import them outside of this country. They didn't fall from the sky. They're from planet. They're from this earth. And that's another, if you look at it, the kind of planet you ask yourself, they're Nigerians. So at the end of the day, whether or not we want to, accept it, to say, oh, yes, they're part of the problem because it didn't come out. But there are a lot of people who don't see anything wrong in all that's going on. I mean, for the past few weeks or days, it's not been very easy for a lot of Nigerians. But like I would say, that we're a reflection, and whether or not we want to believe it, whether or not you want to take it, you still have some people who are very, very happy. People who are celebrating
the point
those who have been elected.
No, so I just to find out what you mean. Are you saying that the people who are sad, heartbroken, and angry, and are tearing their passports are a reflection of the
No,
problem.
that's not what I said. I said what I said in bits and pieces, and I said that everyone had a right, to how to feel. And I really don't think that it's okay, because usually it's always in our nature as humans, especially in this part of the climb where we want to tell people how to feel. Oh, don't act this certain way. You shouldn't be angry. There should be another way to feel. But these are emotions. People do not have the same capacity. So what I can take as a person, there's a story of someone who committed suicide. So we need to understand the fact that some people have not been able to take the outcome. Now, that happened within the area where I live. A lady committed suicide. She couldn't take it when she had the result. That was the presidential result. And she said, no, it couldn't have been. It's not what it is. And then what happened? She decided to take her life. Now, that's not to make nonsense of the fact that she took her life. But the point here is you can't really tell everybody how to feel or how to express emotions. And those who are tearing the passports, we have had several persons saying that these passports are expired passports. It's fake. It's not possible for you to tear your passport. I'm saying that people can go, you don't even understand how they feel. And these persons are in diaspora. But also, on the other hand, we can also take out the fact that over time, we have indulged. We are just a reflection of this kind of persons. So whether or not it's, something to go by immediately to say, oh, these persons have directly or indirectly contributed to all of this, we're saying that if you look at the trajectory over time, we have accepted it. As much as a lot of persons are displeased with the outcome, whether or not they belong to a certain political party or not, other persons have said, oh, this is the best way. I have someone from my constituency. This is the best person. And if you look at the track record and some of the reports that we have, a lot of these persons, like I stated before.
We are running out of time.
Yes, we are. So we'll just go to the next one.
No, we can't go because I haven't given my take on this.
No, that's fine.
I want the opportunity to do it. If we have to just do this only this stop training, it would be worth it. What I would say to this is that first of all, you'll be mistaken to think that these reactions are because maybe the candidates that these men supported are lost the election. I think it's a bit about more than that. It's about more than that. And if you listen to the words of the second guy, because we didn't take his video from the first place, he was actually talking about the ethnic, coloration and the tribal sentiments that have been expressed in these elections. Barefaced xenophobia, barefaced hate speech, which actually the laws of the land, the Electoral Act, it frowns on campaigning based on ethnicity. It is against the Electoral Act. You go to prison for it or pay a fine. It's there, But let's leave the law aside. The second guy was talking about the fact that his tribe, he's an Igbo man, are being told to go back to where they come from. Now, mercy, my parents, came from outside this country, moved here, and then they gave birth to me here. Okay? Now, I have grown up in this country all my life. I got married to a Nigerian. I have my property here. I have my land. Everything is here now. I have been a recipient of xenophobic attacks on radio, but I know how the public thinks. If you're discussing a topic and someone doesn't like it and feels that you are shining a torchlight on their candidate or the person they support, they just look for how to attack you. And I've been told to go back to my country several times. For me, I am used to it, and I don't have a problem, because for you to do that, it means that you're either being mischievous or you're very ignorant. For me, I say, okay, I am above this, but I know the feeling when you actually, now imagine you being in your own country, you're in a part of a country, and then you're being told, that you cannot exercise your franchise simply because you are not in your village. We in the media have been educating people, telling them you don't need to travel home, vote where you belong, vote where you pay your taxes. We're seeing the rise of ethnic nationalism in Nigeria. And when the payment for that investment that our Yoruba brothers and sisters are making comes to fruition, let's be ready for it. See, right now, it's basically saying to people that we don't even have a country anymore. We need to go our ways. Okay? When you tell people to go back to where they came from, in their own country. Now, to tell somebody who came from another country, go back to where he came from, it's even a bit more bearable than to tell someone who is in his own country that because of an election and because I do not like the fact that you are going to vote for somebody that I don't want, okay, you now tell a Nigerian from Nigeria in Nigeria to go back to where he came from. How absurd is that? In his own country. Where does it come from? Is it not Nigeria? Now, Mercy, that's one. Number two, where I said it's not about the result of the election is people know what they saw at their polling unit. Let's just say their polling unit. Now, if they wake up the next day and see that the result of their polling unit is not what is reflecting on the TV screen, then they become heartbroken, especially given the fact that this election saw people gain hope. Why did people gain hope? We're in the media. We've had a high voter apathy in Nigeria, record voter apathy in Nigeria. The more the voters register keeps increasing, the more the percentage of voters who stay at home. Doesn't make sense. We've been educating, advocating for voters to come out to vote. A record number of people went to get their voters card. We saw people, why? The hope they had was that the Independent National Electoral Commission had assurances and kept informing and educating Nigerians and telling Nigerians that they had a game changer. What is a game changer? The bimodal voter accreditation system and, of course, electronic transfer of votes, which a lot of civil society advocates were talking about, President should sign Electoral Act. And then, of course, the IREF portal, which is a real-time upload of election results. And this gave people hope to say, okay, why were people not coming out? Each time we have programs on TV and radio, the repeated reason is that our votes will not count. That's why people didn't come out, not for any reason. Nigerians were not voting for any other reason than our votes will not count. I've heard it 100 times. I can write a book on voter apathy because I'm in the media. We listen to these things every day. The reason a record number of people said they're going to come out to get registered and to vote, okay, we saw the crowds everywhere. People were willing, especially in the South, was because they felt their votes will count. I know people who spent I know a student who borrowed money from abroad to come back home to vote. His school was in session, he came back. I know people who left California, left Tottenham in UK, okay? I know people who left Toronto in Canada. These are people who we talk to as our listeners to come down to the country to vote. I know one who left North London, Tottenham. I don't know him, but because of one of our listeners. And he didn't have a voter's card, but he galvanized people to vote for his candidate. He campaigned to them, and he came back to organize, voters for his candidate. People living outside the country. People who had no hope in Nigeria, who had lost hope in elections in this country, decided to vote. Now, Mercy, when you've lost hope in something, okay, and then you're giving hope that no, don't lose hope, don't lose hope. This thing you've lost hope in, it can work, and then you get to that point and you give your all. People give their all. Okay, I know people who trekked 4 hours 36 minutes to get to their polling units in this Lagos. I know people who trekked. These are not destitute. These are people who have families and who have cars. Okay, I know people who trekked 2 hours 30 minutes to get to their polling units. I know people who trekked 1 hour, pregnant women, simply because they woke up on that morning of the election and realized that their polling unit had been changed and they didn't know where to go to. I know people who trekked through areas where you had miscreants who were breaking people's heads, and they will walk for a few minutes and hide. When the coast is clear, they come out again like they're in a war zone. They go somewhere, they hide, and all that. Okay? I know people who died on the way back home. So people were sold hope. They bought the hope, got to the election, voted, and realized that they were just being taken for fools. Okay? And the money spent to fool them was 300 billion naira. So, it's not easy to see men, Mercy, crying, heartbroken. It's not easy to see men crying and heartbroken in this life. It is not easy. Okay? So, for something that will push a man, initially when I heard it online and on air and everything, some men were not themselves for 1 week. But something that will push a man to the point of being heartbroken and even crying, that is very serious, So what I'm saying is this: men tend to try and be tough. They try and you try and put up the bold face and all that. But so what I'm saying is people are disappointed because of their hopes were dashed. Finally, Mercy. Finally, I don't think the guys and men we are seeing tearing the passports are the problem. These ones are the ones that we can see. That's the drama. No.
No, Kofi,
can I, please, let me land. Can I land? No, Mercy, please. I'm making a point. This is my closing statement. Okay, please. I don't think the men that we are seeing in the videos are the problem. The real issue are the millions of Nigerians, many Yorubas, many Igbos, many Hausas, many Shekiris, many Efiks, many BBOs, because the election malpractice is widespread around the country, everywhere. All the parties are guilty, all of them, okay? All tribes, all states are guilty, but millions of Nigerians who we're not seeing them go on phone, on video to tear their passports, but their hearts have been torn from Nigeria at this point. I think that is the greater danger.
So Kofi, I just to put it, I think that it would just be very unfair for you to try to.
And by the way, I'm not referring to you.
No, you see. So I said what I said.
No, I'm not referring to what you said.
No, you refer to it and say it will be unfair. I mean, I was the one who raised the issue and said that we're a reflection of who we are. Yes, we're a reflection of who we are. And I will never change that. Now, it doesn't also stop the fact that a lot of people are bleeding. But if you really look at it, whenever we accuse, because if you look at the system that we operate, the political class or the gladiators who are pitching, these tribal issues and doing all not what, who are snatching ballot boxes are from our society. They have been living with us. These persons didn't fall from the sky. And so, yes, these are things that we're encouraging, whether we like it or not. We're encouraging some behaviors and attitude. We're giving into it. And it's trickling down. At the end of the day, one of these persons become a chairman of a local government. One of them become a legislator. One of them become a governor. And what do you expect? So we're just really a reflection of who we are. And not to take out the fact that, yes, people have not been hurt. People have not felt differently. And people have the right, to feel however they want to feel. And I would rather say that for those who are thinking that, yes, it's just an act, people are tearing their passport, it's a fake one, you can't even say that because people are really disappointed. And that's the much we can take at this point in time. When we return, we'll be looking at the front pages of the national dailies. We call it Off the Press. Tunde Kolawole will be joining us. Please stay with us. Good morning.